Huffhines. I'm from just north of Dallas, Richardson, Texas. I was on an LST. We were supposed to be landing. I was in the H&S Battery, 3rd Battalion, 13th Marines. We were part of the 28th Marine Combat Team. And I was, some of our people were landing about 30 minutes after H hour. And I think I landed about an hour after H hour. And as I was going to shore, I was sitting on a bunch of communication equipment, and I could see kind of what was happening. And I thought, boy, we were really giving them hell. There were shells exploding all over the place. We got a little closer, and I saw that it wasn't our shells that was exploding on the beach, it was Japanese shells. And my attitude changed right away. So we got on the beach, and first thing I did was fall down and try to cover my face up. I thought the end of the world was happening about that time. But finally I was able to get up and crawl over some of those terraces and get to where we were supposed to get. And we were setting up a fire direction center. And about that time, the 3rd Battalion, 105 howitzers were landing. And the CBs had to pull them across the terraces with their caterpillars. And by pretty close to noon, the 3rd Battalion, 12 howitzers were sitting up about 400 or 500 yards from the foot of Suribachi, firing into the Suribachi. And one of my first jobs was running a telephone line from the Fire Direction Center to George Battery. George Battery, I think Gamble Gal, the howitzer from George Battery, was the first one that howitzer that fired. And as I got to the George Battery position, the lieutenant there was directing fire, was jumping up and down, clapping. They had just put a round in a cave and knocked out a Japanese artillery piece. It was firing at the beach. And so we pretty well covered the north side of Suribachi with 105 howitzer fire. And I think we did a pretty good job. Then as soon as Suribachi fell, we moved north, and we were firing at the Japanese installations north until we got into the Bloody Gulch up there, and there wasn't much a howitzer could do to that, so they sent us back, and pretty soon we were boarded a ship and started back to our base in Hawaii.
Good. Thank you very much.
And let me say a little bit more about the beach. It was littered with wounded and dead and body parts, and I was didn't know what to do, to tell you the truth. I wasn't for sure where I was supposed to go, but finally decided I was supposed to go up over the terraces. When you got up to the top of the terrace, I was getting machine gun fire about that far over my head, and I wiggled my body down into the sand, and for some reason they changed where they were firing, and I was able to make it to our where our CP was, and we were just setting up a fire direction center. And as I said before, my first order was to run. I was a telephone lineman. At the time, I was a PFC. Later on, I got promoted to corporal, but then I was a PFC. And I got the line down to George Battery, and George, they had set up, and the CBs had used their bulldozers to drag the ducks across the sand, and they were able to unload their howitzers and get started firing. I don't know exactly when, but it was probably around noon. And when I got to the George Battery, as I said before, they had just put a round in a cave and knocked out our artillery piece that was firing at the beach. And later on, I got a letter from the executive order of George Battery for hooking them up to the Fire Direction Center. By the way, the commandant of George Battery, Captain McDermott, was killed later on. And when they finally got the flag, it seemed like a long time before we finished with Suribachi. Well, we moved north, and it was just a repeat of the same thing. I was running lines to the infantry battalions and the FOs, and we were losing people day after day after day, and I wondered if the thing was ever going to be over. And so I think the 5th Division moved up on the left side, and we were still fighting and taking, we were in what we call the Bloody Gorge. The houses couldn't be effective in firing that, so they sent me back. And when they finally took the Bloody Gorge, they pulled a bunch of people from our artillery and put them in the 28th Marines, in the various Marines, and a bunch of them didn't come back. I had friends that we lost up there, and I still think about it. Anyway, I made it home.